let you down.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to X Marks the Box, an Xbox podcast. And today we have a special episode in As Dusk Falls Spoilercast episode. Ooh. And I'm with my special guest, special co-host, as per usual, my good friend Alice. How are you doing, Alice?
Hi. Yeah, I think it's just it's going to be very different because I got like lots to talk about with the news and what I've been playing, but seeing this is a spoiler cast, it's like, yeah, just go ahead because I've got like 1,000 gamer score on As Dusk Falls, so I have plenty to talk about that too.
So I've got 980 gamer score because one of the achievements has glitched on me, which is really annoying.
You said it's message received, right?
Yes, well, we can talk about that more in the spoiler section because obviously to explain how I haven't got that achievement would be to spoil the game a little bit. So we're just going to talk about the game. We're going to talk our initial impression / spoiler-free review at first, and then as soon as we've done that, we'll be talking episode by episode of what we thought about the game, and also our spoiler full review at the end as well. And we're just basically just going to rant about how great or how terrible this game is, depending on how we feel. So, So we'll start with our spoiler-free reviews, I guess. Do you want to go first, or
Yes.
should I go?
I'll go first. And at the moment, I think the game is okay. It's just the UI is just really bad. It's just kind of a bit annoying. It's alright. It looks really clean, and it just, for the most part, it's just like really has a good presentation with it. But it's just like you had to control things with the controller, and you go around with the cursor. You just go around with a thumbstick, and then you click with A button, and it just makes the whole thing like a bit clunky. Thankfully, the settings is like 4A, and you have like things there. What I found out from the loading screens is like you can go to accessibility settings, and I'm like, oh, turns out you could make QuickTime events like easy, because I find there's some parts of the QuickTime events like really annoying. Like some of the buttons don't register, but if you turn on the accessibility where you only like click with a single button, then it just makes the QuickTime events like so easy that you just like click and then you do forget about it. Then you just have the problem with I just found out that you can also just select choices to the D-pad. Not the most reliable, but you can actually like go through the options, and it's like really easy. But not everyone knows it because they would be expecting to use a thumbstick and an A button. Then I just saw there's a mobile app. It's very simple. You can get it from the App Store. Like when you find a 5-letter invite code, you put them in, and you can like control the mobile app. But it acts like a controller instead, so you have to move around the cursor over the screen, and then you click on buttons as well. So I was expecting like choices to appear on the screen like in Jackbox games, but they don't do it. It's just ridiculous.
I haven't tried the mobile. I haven't tried the mobile app. I probably should at some point, but I haven't tried that yet.
Did you play with your mum on this?
Yeah, so me and my mum, we end up watching most like American TV, so like Breaking Bad, Game of Thrones, all that kind of stuff. We usually end up watching that together. So I thought we'd try this one out together, and she really enjoyed it, and we had a lot of fun with it. I just played with the controller though, and she just watched and helped me make decisions. So she didn't use her phone or anything. It was just I used the controller, and we just went through all the options.
Yeah, I think it's best if you get someone to only play the controller and get them to like say about which decisions to make, because I swear the mobile app is just like doesn't make a game better when it comes to navigation.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to brag or anything, but at the end of every chapter, I always got good fast reflexes for the inputs. I was like, yes, nailed it. All 6 episodes, I had all the QuickTime events nailed. The only times I failed QuickTime events is when I've gone back and gone for other achievements, so you have to fail QuickTime events to get. It's just interesting though. Yeah, so I mean, spoiler-free review of this. I feel like the first 15-20 minutes of the game before you meet the Holt brothers is really stilted, slow, and a bit weird. But as soon as you meet the Holts, it kind of starts to pick up speed. I feel like the actors who are, because I looked it up on IMDb, I think it is, movie database. The people who played themselves seem to be better acted. I feel like there's people who do there's just body acting and just voice acting, and then you have people who do the body and the voice. And I feel the people who do the body and the voice seem to have done a better job with the acting part, or it seems to me anyway. Like Jim, one of the main characters, I feel like is a bit less stilted than like some of the other characters. Like you'll make a joke and it's supposed to be sarcastic, and then people are just like, huh? Like the line that sticks out to me is right at the beginning of the game where he goes, "Grandpa," and he goes, "I thought you were my grandpa." And it's like really, really, really badly acted. I'm like, what the hell is this game? And it's like, I am your shepherd, and you are my sheep, and I will go with you. And it's like, what the hell is this game? And I was like, at that point, I was like, this game is absolutely terrible. And then as soon as we got to the Holt brothers, then it started to get good again, and it started to pick up speed. But the intro, I'm like, what is the acting on this? Is awful. But the acting gets better. It's weird.
Yeah, I've been practicing writing, and I've been looking up on like forced and stilted dialogue, and I was like, and you mentioned like the stilted dialogue. So is it like they just somehow like ever explaining things just to treat us as if like we're stupid or some sort?
I mean, that's the first 15-20 minutes is like that. I feel the rest of the game it kind of works. It gets better. But yeah, I like this game a lot. I think this game is my favorite story game since the Telltale's The Walking Dead Season 1, which was my game of the year for 2012, which we talked about last episode. So go back and listen to that. But yeah, I think the story's really good. It's really well written. It's interesting, and like since I've gone for 100% completion, I've gone and seen alternative routes, and it's really fascinating to see how different things would have played out if you did things slightly differently. They're not vastly different endings. Like it's more different endings than like Mass Effect, where it's just like you have a blue explosion or you have a green explosion. Whereas this, you do have some different endings, but it's not vastly different. I mean, there's like 3 or 4 endings for each character, I think, right?
Well, actually, I can ask you, like, have you played Heavy Rain and Detroit before?
Yes, so I was going to say it's very similar to Heavy Rain and Detroit. It is written by a lot of the same people who made those games, right? Detroit I enjoyed. Heavy Rain was good, but it had like a massive plot hole in it, and I guess we can spoil that as an old game, or maybe not. I don't know if I want to spoil the Heavy Rain for people just in case they haven't played it. Spoilers for Heavy Rain if you haven't played it, like for like 2 seconds. You play the murderer, and then you try to find out who the murderer is, even though you already played him, and he acts like you're a good guy when you play. It's like it makes no sense.
Yeah, well, I think to me, I played Heavy Rain, but not Detroit. But it does play a lot like Heavy Rain. But the thing is, like, it does have more interaction. Like, you do have quick time events, and you do have like choices to make, but you just like explore around the area and like interact with things. And there's even like more context sensitive aspects, and also it's just like the choices do actually carry through the entire playthrough. But I think a lot of the game is just like you make a choice, and then it's like it kind of like falls in a meaningless decision. Like, it doesn't have a huge impact, but it's just the last chapter that, based on what you do in, like, chapter 5 or what happens earlier, you just either fall into 1 or 2 outcomes, which then leads to, like, multiple endings. But the rest of it is just, like, doesn't have a lot of an impact, and you get to choose what it is. So yeah, it does, like, play like Heavy Rain, but it's also like the interface is not so great because you have to go around the cursor and click on it as if, I mean, Heavy Rain goes well on the PlayStation 3. Like, you have choices circling around and you have to press the face buttons to make a choice. And I thought, that's clever. There's even times where the command pops up and you press on it and you do it. But in As Dusk Falls, it's just as simple as like you'll either be playing it on the PC, but since it's like more of an Xbox game and you expect this to play on the living room, it's like it's made for the Nintendo Wii with a remote.
Yeah, the controls are a bit weird, but I mean, apart from that, I feel like I really enjoyed this game. I was going to say, like, I feel if this wasn't a double A or an indie game, this would be getting a lot higher praise. I feel like this is up there with Detroit and Heavy Rain for me. I mean, Heavy Rain and Detroit, obviously, you had full 3D models, but and like Beyond Two Souls and all that. But I quite like the art style in this, and I feel like it does a good job of conveying what's going on. And I feel like if this wasn't a double A game, or if this wasn't an Xbox exclusive, I'm gonna go there because I feel like press, if it's a PlayStation exclusive, we'll be talking about this a lot more. I do feel like this would be getting a lot more credit if it was on a PlayStation, or if it was made by Quantic Dream, or if it was made by someone else. I guess I feel like this.
Why? Why would you think of that?
Because I feel like this is up there with Detroit and Heavy Rain in quality. I think. I mean, this is the only thing that's less quality. I feel is the art style, but I like the art style. I think it's quite interesting.
I tend to disagree because I don't really see it as a PlayStation game. Like, it's done with a developer with a different name, but it does play. It's made more like an indie game and doesn't have a huge budget. So, I mean, it doesn't follow a lot of things that is like Grace's Heavy Rain. And I haven't played Detroit, but it doesn't follow that too. So, I think the way I see it is just like a follow-up to those games and offers something a bit different. And yes, as you said about the art style, I think there's like, it's interesting goes to the little bit of a painted effect where it has like different brush strokes and bits like that. But it does have like 3D stuff in the background. But I literally saw like when there's a truck that goes around, I just instantly thought like, oh gosh, it's gonna have as much bugs as Heavy Rain. And yet, yeah, there's a few bugs, but not that buggy. Like you do have like seams of the art assets which you notice them on the camera. Like one of the characters has got a seam of their torso flowing up. And there's also there's a little bit of stuttering, but I think it's because it's like loading. Also, I think there's some like issues where if you try to unlock achievements, it doesn't unlock them. And sometimes it just pops up without you realizing. So therefore you have to replay aspects of your story in order to unlock the achievements again. So
No, I was going to say I agree with that because obviously I've got that one achievement that's glitched on me, which I'll talk about in a bit. But I have done it. I feel like I swear the achievement popped up, and yet I'm looking at my achievement list and it says, "Nope, you have to unlock that." I'm like, I'm sure I've done this achievement. I've done every other achievement in the game now, like 100%. So it's very weird that one hasn't worked.
Yeah, that happened to me too, and that was like doing chapter 2, which I think that's what happened to you.
Yeah, I think it's chapter 2. It might be chapter 1 or
Yes.
chapter 2. It's early on. The glitch.
Yeah, I think that was like, I think I can definitely visualize the scene. What I didn't unlock the first time is like after that, it's like you get one for like based on the choices you make, and then there's another where involves a flashback scene and you do a specific thing, and then you're just like when I did the chapter 2, and that's when for the first time I noticed I haven't got the achievements. Like there's chapter 2, I haven't unlocked it, so I have to go back using the override feature. I unlocked the achievements, but I did not unlock the first ones, only chapter 2, so I ended up like replaying it after I quit the game and then reloaded it.
Right. I was going to say that's a good feature that this game has that Heavy Rain and Detroit doesn't have, as far as I remember, is that you can go into the web of where all the branching paths are, and you can start like later on in the chapter. You don't have to. So for people who are completionists who want all the achievements, you can start like halfway through the chapter or 3/4 of the way through the chapter and continue from that point to get the achievements. So
I don't really remember something like this in Heavy Rain.
I don't think there was that, so I'm pretty sure there isn't.
No,
if I'm wrong, let me know in the comments below, but I'm pretty sure that this is new to this game.
Yeah, because in The Walking Dead, you only like showing statistics of what happens and what and it shows you percentages based on one of your final decisions in, say, Series 1. Like which people you decide to come with you or some sort. But in As Dusk Falls, it gives you a full tree, a full rundown of all the decisions you made. And you notice that some of the decisions like flow into one scene, and you think as if it would flow into the future, but it doesn't do that. But it does have like trees based on what the decisions you made, and it also show you percentages of like whether you agree with the rest of the people to do that. Because I think there's been like certain situations where honestly, it's a blind playthrough, and I tried as much as I can to not use achievement guide too much, but I made decisions that are like less than 30% in some situations.
I didn't use an achievement guide until I finished the game, so I did a complete playthrough 1 to 6, and then now I've been mopping up the achievements since then. So I didn't use a guide either. I think that's the best way to play it, really, because you can still. It's quite easy to miss achievements, but you can easily go get them anyway. It's like you can go back and get the achievements pretty simply at a later date. So I think that's the best way to do it, is to go in blind, I think.
I disagree. I just go in blind, because that way you just get to know the story, and then you can just mop up with all the achievements. So
that's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I said. I disagree. It's exactly what. But yeah, no, I enjoyed the story for what it was. I thought it was a lot of fun. I'm not much of a horror fan, so maybe that might be why I prefer this to stuff like Until Dawn and whatever ones were there. Until Dawn, The Quarry, and stuff like that. I'm not interested in any of those games because I'm not a horror fan at all.
Well, I don't really. It doesn't really come to my mind whether this is supposed to be a horror game. If anything, it's just like quite similar to like
Breaking Bad.
The TV shows. Yeah, Breaking Bad.
It's like an action thriller.
Well, yeah, that sort of thing, like The Walking Dead, and there's also like Sopranos and type of things. But I think after I was playing it for the story, it's just like it just feels more like a Jimmy McGovern drama. Because I think if you heard of those, hang on a minute. Let's see, because Jimmy McGovern has like written a lot of like crime thrillers. Yeah. It did things like Accused, Moving On, and Cracker, as well as, and I think there's a more recent one. Hang on a minute. Oh, and there's Time, which is released in like 2021. Yeah. And this is where I just feel this whole thing feels more in similar to that than with Breaking Bad. I mean, Breaking Bad is like lots of action, lots of humor and stuff like that. But As Dusk Falls, it doesn't have a lot of that kind of personality. And I think it just kind of relies on a lot of like some exaggerated things and tries to aim to make a lot of shock value. Like, it just seems like as if every character has to have a terrible secret, or whether they would say what is crazy about them. And I just don't think it just works like that. And I think, like in Breaking Bad, what makes it great is just like how complicated the characters are, and also has some humorous thing to them. And I don't think it's what you find in in As Dusk Falls. It does feel like a Jimmy McGovern drama, or even like a BBC drama for that state.
That's fair enough. So I mean, we should probably move on to spoilers in a minute, but what would you give this out of 10? Because we're thinking of it on the X marks the box review scale, as we decided we're going to have a 1 to 10 review scale with no 0.5s in there, right? I think that's what we agreed.
Yeah, so what do you give it?
I personally will give this a 8 out of 10. I really enjoyed it. It's probably my favourite Xbox game this year, apart from the Falls DLC. I mean, does that count as a game? Probably not. So this is my favourite Xbox game of the year, apart from Elden Ring, obviously, which is multiplat. So it's up there. I said one of my favourite story games since The Walking Dead. I really enjoyed the story, and I would recommend it to people who like story games, who and maybe want to have non-gamers get involved and want to have something to play with their wives or their partners or their parents or their friends who don't game. I think this is a good game to recommend. So I give it an 8 out of 10.
That's quite a lot for the indie game, so that I think it kind of sounds like a 9 out of 10 almost.
So what would you give it out of 10, Alice?
6 out of 10. Because, I mean, I definitely agree with what you're saying, and to be honest, I think that what's good about it is just like it just makes it like really thorough on the decisions you make, and I do like the system. I do like how like it progresses the story and makes you think more about the decisions you make, and also the art style is like it quite clever for its time, but like how they like, use fading between images and how you use backgrounds to convey the expression there. But I think there's a lot of like problems with it. Like they hyped it to be like in quality of Breaking Bad, but it's not. It's kind of a bit of not so much of a quality there. And this is a game that's like being built for a story, not for the gameplay. Speaking of which, gameplay is like you only like make decisions. You do the quick time events. You press the certain buttons to go through it, and the puzzle. It doesn't have so much of a puzzle quality, and it doesn't like offer you consequences or stuff like that. You just like basically do things, and the only choices you make is just like how you shape the story. But I think what really lets it down is like how much you relied on the mouse cursor and button thing when this is like intended to be an Xbox game. Like if they think it's like they developed this for PC and then you advertise it to be in the living room, then you know there's a problem because like you just haven't really thought of like how much of a quality of life you have for the other people there. Like when I was thinking like the people behind Quantity Dream did this whole title, I was beginning to think like use like face buttons to make choices and how you use your D-pad. I also expected the mobile app to like make it easier for you to make choices, but it's just not that intuitive. It just made for this whole PC market and play on the monitor, and I think it just kind of like feels like barking up the wrong tree. But apart from that, it's just like it's okay for the while, and it's quite a nice experience there, but it's not that memorable. I think I may end up like only thinking about this game for its like how you do the story progression and the kind of style you do, rather than like dealing with the gameplay or even the story as far as it goes. Yeah. I mean, it's definitely something that they need to take for granted. Like, if they're ever going to do sequels or do more games in this type of style, then they have to be able to rework on some aspects. And only then it will deserve like an 8 out of 10 for me.
Yeah. So, I mean, I agree with most of the things you said, to be honest. I feel like the fact that there's not a controller version of the game is kind of a missed opportunity. Like basically designed with the controller in mind, and yeah, I don't like them using the mouse cursor to do stuff. That is annoying. I just started using the D-pad like after like 10 minutes, and I never went back. So, but no, I feel like the stuff you don't like doesn't bother me as much as it does you. The stuff I like, you don't seem to like as much. So it's like I feel like we have the same opinion, just not, but not like the stuff you hate. Stuff I hate. You hate more than I do, and the stuff I like more than you do, if that makes any sense. But pretty much we agree with most things, I think, when it comes to the score. So you said 6, I said 8.
Yes.
So the Xbox The Box score for this game is a 7 out of 10, because we just go off the average. So there you go, 7 out of 10. As Dusk Falls, we're going to go into full spoilers!
Well, I mean, it's available on Game Pass now, so
yeah, go play it.
I think if you're subscribed to it, then you can just like download it and play it and check it out for yourself. Otherwise, it just like takes less than 10 hours to get all the achievements. So I don't think it will be any harm for you to check this out. Otherwise, it's the kind of game you would rather rent because it doesn't have a lot of replay value with it.
No.
So I think it's probably best if you just if you get the Game Pass, subscribe for it for like 10 quid a month, then yeah, download this game. Otherwise, if you can get it through a sale, that's fine. But I think it's hard to recommend it. But I'm sure Lewis will be like, it's worth it if you want to check out the game of the year. So
it's worth it if you want to. No, it's worth it on Game Pass. I agree with that. I don't know if I would buy it full price. I agree with you there. I mean, it's been out a week, and I've only got one more achievement to get. As soon as I get that achievement, I'm uninstalling it, and then I'm basically done with it unless there's DLC or like As Dusk Falls Season 2 or Book 4 or Book 3 or whatever they want to call it. So I kind of agree with that as well. If you have Game Pass, which if you're an Xbox fan, why don't you have a Game Pass? You should get Game Pass. Like, why have you not? You're crazy if you don't have. If you play an Xbox, you don't have Game Pass. I don't know what's wrong. In the words of Reggie Fils-Aimé, what's wrong with you? Like, you need to get Game Pass. So download it, play it on Game Pass.
Well, do consider there's others who don't own an Xbox and they can access through Steam, and it doesn't support the Game Pass yet. So what you get is just you can get it on Steam for like 25 quid, which is same as on the Xbox. So I don't know if people would still have to wait for the sale on Steam to get that. But then again,
would this be good on Steam Deck? Possibly. That's another option.
Well, there's a Steam Link or Steam machine you can put on TVs, and I don't know if Valve does a lot more support for it now with the Steam Deck.
I would say recommend if you have Game Pass, play it. I think it's a fun couple of hours. It's a bit of a laugh. Otherwise, maybe wait for a sale. Like I know I said 8 out of 10, but I really enjoyed it for what it was. I can see why people wouldn't like this game. There is some problems, I must admit, but I enjoyed it for what it was. So
I honestly had more fun with Power Wash Simulator, which I got 1,000 for, than playing As Dusk Falls.
Spoilercast for Power Wash Simulator next week. Spoilers, you wash things.
Well, I think you can wash the spoilers on cars, so that's a bit of a spoiler there.
Yeah, so are we going into full spoilers?
Yes.
Spoilers. So we should go chapter by chapter, but before we do the chapter by chapter, I want to ask you: do you think that we are getting a sequel or DLC? Because the ending was a bit of a cliffhanger.
Stuck in the middle with the clowns on the left and some fools on the right.
Okay.
Cops going through and shit in their gardens. Robbers are confused. One of them is likely to die.
Okay, I'm confused.
I don't know.
I don't know what this is. What?
I'm sure people would play Chapter 2 would get that.
Okay.
So
sooner or later, God will gun you down.
So what's the now? Bear in mind that this game is most of it is set in 1998.
Yeah.
The first 3 chapters are set in May 1998, where there was a bit of a hostage situation in the hotel, and there's lots of things happening with the flashbacks, and you get to understand those characters. And that's before you get chapters 4 to 6, which I thought there's going to be a time skip, but the time skip actually happens to episode 6, which is actually 2012, and okay. I mean, I think they expect you to do the time skip, and it turns out it's 2022 now, so why 2012? So I'm just a bit confused.
So maybe they can skip forward again if there's a sequel or a DLC for this game, maybe? I don't know.
I mean, either way, the episode 6 doesn't add much for the time skip, and I think it was basically dealing the consequences of the previous 6 episodes. But episodes 4 to 6, as the achievement implies, it refers to Book 2, which is expansion, and it just involves with Jay like running into the woods and trying to make decisions, which shapes up what the overall outcome of the game. But yeah, I think it's just like involves of May 1998 and how it results to that. So, what do you remember much? Because you were certainly around when you saw like May 1998.
I was 9. I don't remember a lot. I remember liking Pokemon and The Simpsons as a kid.
But Pokemon came out in 1999, not 1998.
Then I don't remember anything. Then I remember nothing.
I seem to
Power
remember...
Rangers. Power Rangers. I remember Power Rangers. That was my thing.
Yeah, I think it was around since like 1993, but they do like series like every year. They do like Power Rangers too, but But for me, May 1998, I was about to finish primary school, and I don't remember so much, but like we just go through the last of the tests and things like that. But I think around that time was like not thinking so much about school. Like it's pretty okay, there's sports day, but then like I was like crazy, and I've been doing like putting lots of ideas on paper and think like people would make them for me, so I just like keep writing them on the paper. I did a board game using drawn stuff on it. Right. But whenever I have ideas on paper, I just send it over to like developers who I think they would do the games for me, and I keep sending them with in the envelope with made in Japan, and just keep sending them out. And I was like, my dumb mind thinks that because I think the address is like often shown on the back of the game boxes, and it's like, oh, this must be our address, send them over. but then that's not how it works. But my dad came over and says like, you keep sending them to this whole thing, and then they're probably going to put it in the bin. So he tells me to like put our home address on an envelope and then send them out. And then I just received it back, and it was like addressed to me, and it shows all my game ideas there. And I'm like, yeah, I don't think it achieves anything apart from like say, I got the post for me. That's definitely not it. But I think, to be honest, it's just like, I do all those ideas, and somehow they get pretty much dismissed by the family because, like, they think as if I'm like do lots of weird ideas on it. But then, if I was like cherished for it, then I could have been like an artist or do stuff like that. And then I was like expected to work in IT because I'm good at using computers. I use computer more often than the rest of the family. And ironically, I got the PC for 1984, but I think it's used mostly on my dad's. And then I play on game systems as some kind of stress relief. So I know I may have overshared on it, but that's pretty much like May 1998. And I was still obsessed with the orangey tangs or the Jaffa cakes. Speaking of which, I got like Chip the orangey tang from like eBay with Starter, and it's coming to me.
So random, I love it. I really like to get to that. I love Jaffa cakes. I haven't had Jaffa cakes in ages. Oh yeah,
on the same year, I just like been to Germany on August, and that's when my birthday is. But I think this is definitely one of the subjects for the future episode.
Definitely. So should we get into the story of As Dusk Falls?
Yep.
So yeah, as I said a minute ago, do you think we're going to be seeing an As Dusk Falls 2 or a book 3? Because it did end on a kind of a cliffhanger at the end of the game, so I'm not sure.
Yeah. But that was like unnecessary, because no matter what you do, it just leads you to the same ending, gives you a cliffhanger, and it just begs for you to say that I'm pretty sure this game turned out so good that it deserves a sequel, but I just don't really see a sequel with it. It's just like they just really hope to get big results with it. And yet there's like books 1 and 2, so something suggests to me that there could be DLC for them. I thought, probably not.
I think the grandfather is the father is actually Jay's father, because he went through the area when he was younger, and the woman's sister died, who had the baby with Jay.
You mean Sharon's sister?
Sharon's sister died in childbirth, and the granddad was in that area at that time, and he's like hiding his face and stuff, and then he just got shot at the end, and it looked like it was Jay who ran off, and he just survived. He didn't get. He was gonna get the death penalty, but he just survived it on my last playthrough. Or
actually, I think one of the outcomes is that Jay would have died.
okay, so Jay might have died then. So it's not Jay then. Maybe I don't know then.
I think it's just that doesn't make sense. But I think part of me is just thinking like Jim, the granddad you were referring to.
Jim, yeah.
He did said he lied. He lied about his cancer, and he's said about him being the traveling salesman. So I think part of me thinks as if he's either the con artist or some kind of sketchy dealer who somehow like ruined people's lives, and somehow one of the people wanted revenge and like killed him, which turns into this whole mystery. So I don't think it's like him like being Jay's father. It's just like saying Mike being the father of Jesse in Breaking Bad, which is debunked.
Possibly,
So I was thinking like maybe Jim has a bit of a past, and it's up to like Sally to find out like
what he's been up to.
How come, like what kind of secrets that Jim has that somehow led to a revenge killing or some sort like that. So, but either way, it just feels random, and there's not so much of Jim that like, makes you feel like you see this coming. It's just like comes up randomly.
Yeah.
But either way, it's just like As Dusk Falls, focusing on Jay's journey. This one, it just feels like it came out of nowhere. It makes you think as if it's all about like surrounding around Sayori, when obviously it's not the case. So, what?
Yeah. The only thing with the ending with was it? You say it was Jim? Yeah. He's like he got shot and someone ran off. He was wearing the hoodie of the person that Zoe thought she was seeing all the time, who she thought was Jim, or Jay even. Because when she was like going, I see someone that he's wearing a hoodie, and all this white writing down the side of the hoodie, the guy who shot Jim at the end was wearing the same hoodie. So I feel like she might have actually seen, so she maybe wasn't seeing things, or I don't know. It's weird. I would like to know what this. We might not ever know now. They might not make a sequel or DLC for this, so we might never know what happens next. But it has piqued my interest a little bit.
Well, I think one of the things they could have done is just they should have like cut out the cliffhanger, because it just makes the ambiguous thing like you're thinking as if it's all in Zoe's head to do with her anxiety, or it's just something to do with like Jim's past, and somehow Zoe may not be crazy after all, and she's been like four-way, like acting on her fears, because I think this is what it's to do with her. She has like obviously got huge PTSD vibes and how she got so anxious, and then she had to choose to confront demons and try to settle the differences there with Jay. But the one interesting scene is like there's a break-in, and it makes you think there's either Jim who's smashed through the door, it has some kind of dementia and has forgotten where the things are, thinking that they were stolen by somebody. But then there's one angle that it could have been the criminals who like broke in, and could have like looked through items when they didn't actually steal anything. It could be something to do with like finding Jim, and Jim could be outside like walking. So, yeah.
Yeah, I feel So they've left that open ambiguous as well, which is like interesting. I wish they kind of wrapped that up as well and didn't just leave it ambiguous. But if they have left it open, so if there's an As Dusk Falls 2, it'll be probably Jim's story and probably Zoe trying to figure out what Jim's story is really. I mean, it's like as soon as he saw Sharon, he covered his face, and I feel like, and also, I forgot his name now. The guy who runs the motel with Joyce.
I think it's like Paul or something.
Paul.
And
Yeah, it is Paul. It is Paul. And Paul was like, "Do I know you from somewhere?" And he goes, "Yeah, I look. Everyone thinks I'm Clint Eastwood." So it's like obviously he recognized him from the past as well, and he said he has been through there before. So there is
Yeah, I think
something.
it just keeps it a bit of a small world. Like you think it's of Paul and Vince's family as if they're separate entities, but it just seems all the characters are related, and therefore they have something. But I just thinking like, is this really necessary? Because I think it just makes it more flexible when you have people from different backgrounds. When obviously it's just kind of tells you as if like all the characters are related somewhat, and you never know. Jim could be like Sharon's brother of some sort.
Yeah, I think he's the father of Sharon's sister's baby, who is Jay, but we won't know until next next chapter or whatever they do. Interesting.
I'm not expecting anything to come out of them just yet. Like I think it's 50-50 where they either leave it as a game or somehow like make it something a bit of a follow up with it.
They might do like a comic book or something as well. You never. They might do some kind of like wrap up in a different medium. Sometimes they do that. I'm intrigued though to see if they do more. So should we go chapter by chapter through the game a bit?
Yes.
So in chapter 1, so like the first big decision, I don't really think it will end up being a big decision really, is that you either go with Jim or you stay with your wife in the hotel. I went with Jim, and he said he had cancer and all that, and I was like, ooh, big reveal that he has cancer, and it turns out he doesn't have cancer. We'll find out later on. I don't know why he revealed he had cancer just to say he didn't have cancer. But did you go off with Jim at the beginning, or did you stay with your wife?
I sided with Michelle, the wife of Vincent.
Yes, I know what happens then, because I haven't actually seen that outcome. Do you end up in the lobby with Jim anyway, and then everything happens the same way, or does?
No, I'm with Michelle, so I just chose to be with Michelle and like staying close to her, and just let Jim go out with Zoe and bits like that. But I mean, it's a bit of a slow beginning. Like, first of all, it kind of makes you think like the kind of game you're playing. It get you used to the controls. Like I was like sat down with the curry and I watched As Dusk Falls like some kind of TV show, and then I had to like move around the screen, and it's just like a bit annoying. But anyway, it's just like it's a bit slow. It tries to get you through with some information. But there's a memory game where at the very start where you get to guess how many stars are there in Zoe's backpack. There's a choice where you can peek out and check out the backpack, but I decided to say, I'll just keep guessing and do these things, and then it's like, oh, there's 6 stars. Oh, I just wrong, but I just don't want to end up like cheating and like lose trust with Zoe. Well. And then there was an argument in the car, and then I think I chose to say, like, calm down, Jim, on the side of Michelle, because they wanted to make sure the trip's all right.
Yeah. I mean, that was the same as I did as well, and then I ended up... My green screen just fell then. I ended up siding with Jim, going for a walk with him with the dog, and he said, I have cancer, I want to live with you now, and then, like, 10 minutes later he hasn't got cancer. I'm like, okay, this is random. Did any of the dogs get hurt in your playthrough? I mean, that was my main concern. It's like, I don't care if the humans died, but if the dogs get hurt, I would be really pissed. There's like the
I think there should be Well, they've got accessibility settings where you can make the game so much easier. And I was playing House Flipper where you can replace cockroaches with glasses of sharks. So I was thinking, like, maybe there's a setting where you can replace the dog with a cat.
No, that'd be worse. The cat would scratch at one of the Holt brothers and probably get shot. I don't know if that's a good idea. But yeah, it's like you got the I think it's like a Doberman. I think it is at the beginning, where you're trying to break into the police officer's house, the sheriff's house. I ended up just running away from him, and then also you got the Jack Russell who just won't stop barking, and then one of the brothers.
No, I I can't to get bitten by the dog. I must run.
Yeah.
I just go in, attack the dog, and put White in the shed and locked it, and
right.
just keep that stupid mutt in it. And besides, as much as I don't mind dogs too much. I
love dogs.
Personally I don't particularly like dogs, to be honest. Not particularly comfortable around them.
I love dogs. They're my favourite.
I like cats.
I don't like seeing cats or dogs or any animals really getting hurt in games. If a human gets killed, I don't really care. But if a dog gets killed, I'm like, oh, cross the line now. Like when they give you a warning in episode 3, like, do you want to skip this part of the game because it's disturbing? It's like there should be a part where it's like, do you want to make sure no dogs get hurt in this game? Like, yes, please. No hurting of dogs, please. I do not. I don't know what that.
I've been seeing a lot more horror films where the cat dies, and they're just like, oh, come on, what do you have to kill the cat for? It's just unnecessary.
No,
Why can't there be parts where you can skip them with cats, or you just replace them with dogs?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think this is going to be like raining cats and dogs in this whole thing, and arguing about dogs and cats. Like catties.
So, in episode 1, did you steal Tyler's shotgun and try to shoot him in the face?
Whoa. Don't forget there's a house thing as well, because there's a bit of a robbery in the house. Like, you just go in and explore the house and find out Dante, the sheriff. Yeah. And then there was like Dale, who was like a bit of a dick at first. I think tries to be like
Dale's just a dick. I just can't stand Dale.
Yeah, he just like loves being a dick, and is insufferable for it.
Peeing in lemonade and all this stuff.
Yeah,
and like when
it's just
in real life, right? If someone's going to if you're stood there and someone's holding you at gunpoint, and then they're about to get sniped, would you really go, "Hey, dude, careful, you're gonna get sniped"? No, you wouldn't. You just like, yeah, let the fucker die. I don't care. I hate him. Let him get shot. Why would I warn him? I mean, the only reason I warned him is because they got an achievement for it, but I wouldn't in real life. Like, no, thank you.
But, yeah, I mean, it's just kind of a bit forced and expects you to feel in a certain way towards the person, but it just.
And the biggest thing I thought before, why would you order veggie pizzas? Of all the pizzas you could order, he ordered 6 veggie pizzas.
We'll get to that. Man? Hey, we get to that in chapter 2, because I have a lot to say about that. But, okay. Yeah, you just go into this whole house, you go upstairs, and turns out there's Betty on the wheelchair, who's apparently is the wife of like Dante, and then she just went to, and then there's a thing where you can either let her press the button or get out of the room, or you just yank the button by snapping it from the cord, and that's what I did. Yeah. She's in the room, she's got about the alert. Oh, yank the button, take it off, and then I just had a nice chat with her and just talking about it, and it's just like, do you want the money? I'm after some money to pay off those things. And then she wrote on the paper saying, "What money?" I'll just get the money. Dante owes a debt of some sort. Okay, I'll do that.
She's like, I think she said he don't owe me shit or something like that. It's like, take his money, I don't care. I was like, oh, okay, cool, thanks. And like, you're trying to take, if you try and stop her by grabbing the wheelchair, she scratches at your face as well. That's the thing.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
wow. No. So you've got to just grab the thing and pull it apart and break it. The button to save her.
So I just went over to his office. Been looking around. Got a book, and then it's like, oh, there's a safe, and then you have to put in this input. Like if you've been paying attention to the cutscenes, you notice this number. So I just put in what I thought I put in. Failed the first attempt. But it turns out I got 2 digits the wrong way round, the second and fourth one. Put it in, and then unlocked the safe, got the money, went downstairs. Dante went into the house, and then you do the quick time event, and went off and struck the whole house down like a smooth criminal. So that's how I got achievement. So I suppose you did that exact same thing first time, did you?
More or less, yeah. I mean, as I said, I messed the code up first time as well. I just like the way Jay like goes, oh, there's a bird book. I go, birds, cool, and then just sticks it in his back pocket. I'm like, what? Who does that? I'm going to steal a bird book. Like, and then that ends up being a massive plot point in the game as well. Then, like, what are you doing, Jay?
What's he trying to aspire to be? Bill Oddie?
He loves nature, doesn't he? That's the whole thing with Jay, isn't it? It's like, and he's like, you go, like even like later on in the game, he goes, "My name's Jay, like a blue jay." It's like, okay, cool story, mate. Anyway, climbing trees and stuff. He's one with nature. They kind of hammer that home a little bit as the game goes on. I mean, we don't have to really go play by play like the whole game, but we'll go through it now. So yeah, you piss in his lemonade. You escape. I've obviously done it both ways. If you go get the money or you don't get the money, it pretty much ends it the same way. You end up still getting stuck in the hotel. Yeah, it's weird that you'd still be trying to like hide and stuff when you hadn't actually done anything or like I suppose you breaking an entry, but you didn't steal anything. Well, as far as you're aware, you didn't steal anything. But there you go. It's one of those things.
But did you succeed the quick time event and try to escape from Dante the first time?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
But
I mean, in the alternative run where you get in there, don't get any money, you leave, which you need to do to get achievements. Like they still treat you like you've got all the money, even though you've not got anything. It's like, oops.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that's chapter 1, really, isn't it? I mean, apart from the shotgun at the end, did you try and blast his it's like you try to shoot him in the face, and then like it cuts to the end of the episode.
Well, actually, it's just there's another thing. Is that when the next part, you just go in. It's like, oh, there's a family who came in, and you said like how you make the decisions and how they relaxed there. But it turns out, the same people who burgled the house went in, took the hotel, and like took the whole family hostage. And it's like, oh gosh, this is so smack of like Heavy Rain, because it's like huge situation that is a bit generic, and then this is the case because it just reminds me exactly of like a store robbery. Someone comes in and you're up to the detective to go in and try to stop that person. It feels like that, except it's less complex.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Was this in chapter 1 that you have to see that when the police officer when the police officer comes in? It's still chapter 1, or is that chapter 2? Does he make
that's chapter 2. Okay, but what you do is like you go in and you just like I went in and tried to be patient with the brothers as like fence, like try to call the brothers. Oh yeah, actually you're all right. That is chapter 1.
Because that's the achievement I got glitched. It's called Message Received, where you need to get the cop in and out without dying. I've done it, and the achievement popped. Yet, if for some reason it doesn't say I've done the achievement, which is very frustrating.
I think there was a name for this cop, and I think it was a Big
Sam.
Sam. That one. Like you just come in and like you just somehow like try to whether you hide the evidence with the earring and stuff like that, and try to cover the fact there's no sort of hostage situation going on, and then you just do some like chats with it.
Yes.
Then I ended up slipping a message without alerting anything, and then you have like Dale with the family. Like, oh, okay, just try to keep cool. Try to prevent the thing. There's a hostage thing in the background, and let the cop escape. And that's how I got the message received the first time round.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if you didn't hide the earring and somehow you call for help, one of the Holt brothers would come out and shoot the cop, and that's where you get the achievement called Cop Out.
So I got that achievement the first time, then I went back and redid that chapter, got the achievement for Message Received, and now when I've continued playing through the game, it's like, oh, you didn't get that achievement? It's like, yeah, I did. I got that achievement. Why have you said I haven't got that achievement? What the hell? So I need to go back and play it for a third time to get that achievement. That is the most annoying thing about the game is the achievements are glitchy sometimes. So attempt number 3.
Second attempt, I messed up with the choices and didn't get a cop out. So I did it the third time. Selected the options, a call to help, and I got cop out as the achievement for the chapter 1.
Yeah. So that's chapter 1, really, isn't it? So...
Then that ends when the Holt brothers are like, it just something happening, and then Vincent Vince goes in and like tries to stop. I think it was Tyler like trying to like grapple like Michelle, and then you just went in, grabbed the gun with a successful quick time event, and then you got a Vince point the gun at Tyler, and then you either get to surrender the gun or you shoot.
Yeah.
I decided to say I'm going to shoot this guy. What do you choose?
I did the same thing, but my mum, as I said, I was playing it with my mum, and she was sat next to me. She's like, "You know, there's no bullets in that gun, right?" I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, probably." So she knew.
Your mum was smart.
It's like he's used all the bullets already. I'm like, "Oh, all right."
But that doesn't mean this decision, because even if you decide to shoot Tyler, you still couldn't shoot him.
Yeah.
Like it's just somehow there's no bullets in it left, so it just doesn't make its difference whether you surrender the gun or you shoot it. I mean, it's just never fair. So
the illusion of choice, which is a big thing with these type of games, is that they make it seem like it's a bigger choice than it actually is. I feel like it doesn't do it as much. Like the games like Walking Dead, where literally the whole game is illusion of choice, where it literally is the exact same ending no matter what. Whereas this one has some illusion of choice, but then there is actually some consequences for some of the things you do as well. But yeah,
I think to be honest, like Chapter 1, if I based the game on that, then I would say it's not a great game, because I just think, as you have been saying a lot about it, I don't think it's well written, and I don't think the tension's there. It's just like as if you've written this whole thing and just doesn't it just feels a bit generic, because like they try to get aim for a lot of shock value at first, but they haven't gone into the nuances about like why you should feel for those characters, instead of being told like how you be feeling about them. Like they try to exaggerate some of the parts they expect you to feel in a certain way towards the characters. And also it's just like the gameplay, it doesn't really gel with it, and you just feel like as if Chapter 1 like expects you to learn much, except it kind of gives you a snapshot of how the story's going to end up to be. So I think based on that, it's just like not particularly a success. So in fact, I would go on to say that Chapter 1 could be the weakest of them all.
Yeah. I think like Chapter 2 and 3 are the better ones, I think.
I agree.
We are an hour into this podcast, so we're already on Chapter 2. So maybe we should try and let's try and get through the bullet points quicker if we can. So, did your wife get shot in episode 2? That's like the first note I got here. That's quite early on. Did you stay or run when the?
Well, actually, before that, like I went into the office and then managed to escape. So I think it's an easy decision. But mind you, there's a flashback before that where there's a flashback. And you had to like tidy up the room, and you're expected to do this. And like, oh, there's an aircon, I need to fix it. Then you have a quick time sequence, and press down, and I try to, I pressed the wrong way. I need to press left, and then, oh gosh, I just failed it. It's just like, it hasn't been fixed. And then that's before I realised in the accessibility settings, you can turn all of these prompts into like button presses, and I didn't know that at first, unless I had been paying attention to the loading screens. This is bad. Like, if I knew that, put that setting in, then I would have like fixed the aircon and then went on to like sort this out. Also, there's an option where it shows you all the options on the screen at once, rather than like trying to scroll through this whole thing. So when I did it the second time, you're impressed, Michelle, and you did all those things. Yeah. Because first time I was like going through all those things, check the weather, and then I ended up watching TV on that. It's just like...
I ended up watching hockey. So
And then Michelle comes back with Zoe and like, oh, pretty good. And then she said like, she didn't say, you haven't done the aircon and all those stuff. I was like, oh. Yeah,
she said, you said it. With me, she was like, oh, you've actually done everything. And I was like, yeah. I was like, of course I did.
Enjoy the pot of noodles. Actually, you haven't actually done some of those things, so I kind of a bit spoiled there. Then there's like, the whole Bruce thing. It's like,
Bruce.
What the fuck?
Goddamn Bruce, asshole.
Like, why would you just put this whole thing when obviously Vince is like busy packing up and trying to go on the trip? Like, they just literally threw this as a side plot, and it's just only is relevant in like chapters 2 and 3. I'm like, feels unnecessary forced. Like,
damn Bruce, though.
There's Bruce, and he keeps phoning Michelle, and then the Vince is like, you smell the wine and perfume, and how you come back there. Then you just gave those things where you expect to try to get involved and try to get involved in this, like as if you're being jealous. Then you just go in and say, just don't try to interfere with the call. Here's the wine, drink it, and say, I just like trust Michelle and just leave it like that. And that's where I could have unlocked the achievement, but I didn't unlock it the first time because of a bug. But guess what? Like, if you just go through that and then say, I don't believe you. You've been cheating with Bruce.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh my gosh, it just goes into the plot of those things. And Vince just sat down and Michelle was like really upset and tried to beg for forgiveness. Yeah. But guess what? There's like question answers. It's like, well, it's just only one time. How many times have you been in bed with him?
Yeah.
Are you been in this bedroom, in my bedroom, and fucked over this Bruce guy?
No.
It's just like some of the answers just a bit silly.
Yeah, it's a good match. There's like 4 or 5 achievements for this little subsection. Like, forgive her. Okay. Forgive her. Don't forgive her. Get her to, I don't know. It's like, also this guy, if he's having an affair with your wife, right? He's not doing a very good job of it. Like, constantly texting like, "Hey, sweet cheeks, hey, cupcake," and then ring. It's like, dude, if you're having an affair, do a better job than this. God, like, come on. You're like, Jesus. It's like, can you make it more obvious? God.
So what do you do about it?
I forgave her, but in real life would I forgive her? Probably not. But in the game, like,
look, I just want to relax, get ready to go on a trip, and I do not want any drama. And then you just see Vince trying to put up with all this and get to not know about this whole thing.
He's not having a good time with it, Vince. I feel sorry for the guy. He's having a bit of a shit time. He got fired from his job because of something that wasn't his fault. His wife's having
you got either sign the gag order or flip the table like an anime.
I flipped the table. that was bad.
Same.
What else is that? Your daughter's being a bit of a brat. Your granddad's being weird, saying he has cancer when he don't have cancer. And then you're getting bloody shotguns stuck in your face and stuff like that in a bloody motel in the middle of nowhere. And your car's broken down.
Dante's got Black Book that's got all the bribes and stuff like that. They could have like gotten arrested, and it just seems as if they just try to like give so much to characters. They're thinking as if shock value is what makes the character, not like adding a lot of nuance, the reasons why you care about them. And it's just where the game gets weird or some sort. It's just like Tango in Halifax shit.
I haven't watched watched 1 or 2 episodes of Tango in Halifax. It's a weird show. Yeah. So what was it? So did Michelle get shot in your one?
Yes.
Yeah.
Attempted to flee the hotel, got the Michelle foot shot, but there's a thing where you choose to remove the bullet. So I went in, did the bullet, removed it, and then applied the whiskey to it, and that's where I could have got an achievement, but did not unlock it. I was like, oh, come on.
I got that one.
It could, so. But it's pretty simple. Like, once you go through that and remove the bullet, that's easy enough. And it just seems as if Vince is like so good at this, and yet, it's just, But anyway, I think anyone would like easily rent for this stupid decision to leave the hotel and get Michelle shot. But anyway, now you said about pizza.
We got pizza time.
6 fucking pizzas.
Yeah.
All vegetarian. And what does Dale do? Not share any of this shit. Like, twice I just went in and I convinced him about it. You're not supposed to talk about his ex-girlfriend. You're not supposed to try to force them there. Well, are you supposed to joke with him or some sort like that? It's just like he's the biggest. It's just like he's the biggest dick ever, and he thinks, "Oh, all those pizzas are for the robbers," and decided not to share them with the hostages. Like they're just like they're like they're like the most unpleasant robbers they are. And all they do is like keep the people hostage so the police wouldn't get to them. I mean, they're not even like robbing the fucking bank, for instance.
No.
Well, they got 6 fucking pizzas. Wow.
Yeah. So if you say the cold pizzas taste like balls, and he goes, "Good one," and then you go, "You should marry your cousin or something." And he goes, "What did you say?" He's like, "Oh, I was just making a joke." He goes, "Oh no, that's a good one. That's funny. Here you go, have pizza." Then he gives you the pizza. Then it's like, "Oh, okay." So if you just make fun of him, it's like a joke about inbreeding. It's like, "Oh, okay, that's funny. Here you go, here's a pizza." Like, cool.
You know what? Well, it's not exactly like artificial. Like you can definitely joke about people marrying their cousins. Guess what? Yeah. My parents are related. They got some of the few of their ancestors are what they share, so they definitely like more than distant cousins or something like that. They just so I would certainly consider myself a little bit of an inbred loser.
Oh no. On that bombshell.
Anyway, check out Vince. He's super fast. Like there's like frames where he's like there was times where you try to escape the sniper and try to get over to this shelter, and then like there's things like flick so quickly off by Vince there, but damn, he looks like he ran so fast.
I mean, I would run. I can't run for my life, but if someone's trying to snipe me, I'd be running like mad as well. So I mean, we did have. I did say this earlier. Why in real life? Why would you warn the guy who's being a dick that he's gonna get sniped? Why would you warn him? Why would you go, "Hey, dude, you're gonna get sniped"? In real life, why would you like? All that's gonna happen is he's gonna pull you in front of him and you're gonna get shot, or it's gonna be some kind of kerfuffle. So, like, surely you wouldn't say anything, right? Like in real life, in the game, I understand you need to progress the story, but why would you say? Why would you warn the sniper? Why?
Well, now you mentioned this, like you choose to either like send Zoe out to the police or send Michelle. First time I did that, it's like, oh, I sent the Zoe over to keep with the cops, and then looked out for Michelle, and then there's like, there's like the pager you got from Dante, and you just walk over. Turns out, there's a black book, so there's that. Then I just came over with Dante around him, and it's about requesting for the helicopter. First time, I allowed Dale to be killed, so I ran in with Vince, and somehow Tyler killed Joyce. And that's the consequence. You get 2 people killed for the price of a sniper bullet.
Yeah.
And that's when I noticed, like, I couldn't unlock the achievement for Chapter 2. So I just overwritten before that part. Then I won Dale, let Dale survive, and Joyce survived.
Yeah. But
at the same time, I sent over to Michelle, and somehow I got achievements for Second Chance and, like, Life Saver as well. And then I got Chapter 2, so I got extra achievements. So
nice.
That's what I ended up with. So what did you do?
I just accept. I let him get sniped, and then Joyce died, and then that's how I ended my chapter. Obviously, going back and replaying it, I saved him, but it's I don't think it makes too much of a difference having Joyce dying. Like he isn't much involved in the story after that with the brother. So it's weird. We still got to get through 4 more chapters, so we try and speed these if we can. So
chapter 3.
Yeah, so chapter 3. Did your wife die from the bullet wound? Because she died.
No, she was with the police.
Oh,
she survived for the hospital.
Okay? So I thought you said you gave Zoe to the police.
That's the first time. Second time, I sent Michelle out using the overweight thing, and Michelle's got rescued by the hospital.
Yeah, that's the right. the first playthrough I sent Zoe out, and I didn't change it. I just went with that. But I think in hindsight, Michelle was the more logical option. He even says it himself, it's like, honey, you've been shot. You need to go to the hospital. Like, you can't just stay here. Don't be stupid. He even says that himself. Like, like the logical solution is you get the person who's been shot to a hospital, not just like get the girl out. Like, come on now, common sense.
But yeah, this would have been the point where you would have forgive Michelle there or some sort like that.
Yeah.
But then,
There's
yeah,
a
it's just
by,
like, I just realised that by overwriting, I just saved Michelle's life, so that's how I did that.
you saved
anyway,
Joyce,
just...
Michelle, and the dickhead brother. I can't remember his name.
Dale.
Dale. You saved 3 people's lives in one override. That's pretty impressive. Even though Dale's a dick and he didn't really want to save his life, really. But
he didn't supply pizzas, and guess what? I decided to like save his life, and a bit sentimental. But then he got shot anyway after the police get in, so it's just basically like, 2 lives saved.
Yeah.
But anyway, there's a random character coming in. It's Sharon, so she came in into this whole.
Woo.
So she got in, slapped Tyler, and then talking about things. And then she knows about, like, Dante, like, getting into some criminal aspects. So you either give the pager to her or not. So I decided to hide the pager from her, because I'm like, well, she's a mother, the Holt brothers, and I don't exactly trust her, so I hid the pager from her.
I gave her the pager because the fact that Dante tried to get us, well, he sniped Dale, but he could have quite easily killed us. He doesn't seem to be very concerned about our life, and all he ever cares about is the black book. So I was just like, you know what, you can have the pager. I don't want to deal with this guy anymore. There you go. So yeah, the brother Tyler got annoyed, but that was about it really. It's pretty much the same storyline. I think you end up fighting. So I think I ended up fighting the sheriff, and you ended up fighting Tyler, right, in the pool after because of that decision. The pager, that's what it is. Yeah, so
I ended up fighting Tyler and it was an assault with Dale being shot.
Yeah.
But anyway, before that, you get like a bus attack, and I was like, yeah bus attack, lots of cops going in. Cops really wants to pull their triggers and kill people. Yeah. I mean, this is America.
It's America. Yeah. You also missed the part that Jim goes, "Hey, I don't actually have cancer. Psych, got you. I got you. I don't have cancer. I'm actually fine." It's like, thanks, Jim. That was. Why did you tell me you had cancer just to say you don't have cancer? What are you doing?
Yeah. Anyway,
that was before the bus, I think, or it might have just been just after.
There's a side plot where this involves like Bear, the father of the Holtz, where he just comes in and is like, "Hey, you see this watch? This is where it's time for a B-team." Yeah. So I was just kind of thinking of like Brawl Bell. Ding ding! Those punch up those kids for not fixing the roof properly.
Yeah, that was right.
Oh, what's this? Hardwood or softwood? Yeah. What's this? Animal Crossing shit.
Yeah. He goes, ha, it's not hard. You can't get hardwood. Ha 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 ha. I was like, okay, chill, dude. It's like, calm down. Yeah, the dad is a dick, right? It's like when you started to like the dad a little bit, but he turns out he's fucking killed the loan shark, or you think he's killed the loan shark. I mean, spoilers.
And guess what? He's got like a gambling addiction. Yeah. Oh, a flaw, and that's what brought the Holtz into this whole mess. But I think initially when I first saw him, I just kind of thinking as if he looks like a Trump supporter because of how much he relies on discipline and how much he stands for the traditions and stuff like that.
I'm just imagining someone dislike.
And also he just refers to Dale and Jay, because they haven't worked, he thinks as if they're like working like girls or stuff like that. Yeah. And I'm like, wow, this guy is absolutely dick, and somehow has no remorse of some sort. They expect the boys to do everything they can. But anyway, to the gambling addiction, you have this guy called Fawn who came in, and with Jay, it's like, just trying to play cool, just had a casual chat with him, and try to make it feel like Vince from Pulp Fiction tried to take a bite of his, I think it was the beef boil, was it boil with cheese or some sort?
Yeah.
Or what do you do with Fawn?
I can't remember exactly. I think he goes, "I want your watch." And I went, "No," and hit him across the face with the pan, I think. And then the dad came in and scared him off. I think.
I gave him the watch.
I didn't. Apparently, the watch is fake anyway. Apparently, so that was. So I fought for the watch, even though it was completely pointless.
Anyway, so I played the cool gangster Fawn, and later on, you just go into this journey with Bear and just talked about sometimes you do good things by doing bad things, kind of lines and bits like that. You go to the hospital because of some grazes and injuries what Bear had. Then you just go around, go into the middle of the woods, and you decide to bury the body. Oh, plot.
Yeah.
So you just
alive.
Yeah, you just try to bury him, and you can either bury him or you just let him escape. So I just let him escape, and release the Fawn into the woods. Whee!
Yeah, and treatment for burying him alive as well, so that's fun.
He looks like a variant of Loki from the show Loki.
Yeah. And then the dad obviously would be and then you find out he has life insurance, and then he tries to kill himself. I think that's the part. Yeah, content warning. I thought life insurance didn't work if you tried to kill yourself.
No.
Well, you had to die of natural causes.
But you can get a donor cards, and that's one way.
Okay, I don't know.
So this is the part where the game warns you about, and that's the early part of the game. So it doesn't warn you about the dogs, as you say.
It should have warned me about the dogs. That's more.
There's an app called Does a Dog Die? And it will tell you whether the dog gets hurt or anything like that. But I think it's just whether the dog dies or not. But anyway, if you do... Well, actually, so if you're given this option, it gives you a positive outcome. And I think it's where you, decide to, let Bear live. But I just went in and saw the scene there because I got a bit of a iron stomach. So I just went in, saw him hanging himself, and then I decided to, free him. Yeah, I think that's affected Tyler, not killing Vincent then, so...
I cut him down as well.
Yeah, we're a bunch of good people who save people from, suicides. Anyway, it just leads to this ending where, huge hotel crash, and I kicked Tyler's ass. Do you have Tyler fighting him as well?
No, I ended up fighting Holt, the sheriff. Or Dante.
The sheriff. Dante, yeah.
Yeah, he
I didn't get that.
He ends up chasing you into a bathroom with a taser, and you end up sticking his hand down the toilet with a taser, and he ends up getting electric shock. So that's fun.
Are you sure this is not Devil May Cry 4, where you get to fight Dante?
No. That's the sheriff's name, isn't it? Dante? Yeah?
Yes.
Yeah, no, you face... Because you gave away the pager to the Holt brothers, he goes, "You betrayed me. You said you would help me." And I go, "I never said I'd help you." And then he has a taser. He starts shocking you constantly, and then eventually you run off, escape, and then you end up getting shocked by sticking his hand down the toilet. So yeah, you stick a screw. What's it called? Corkscrew. You stick that into his shoulder as well. So that's fun. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, I had a fight with Tyler in the swimming pool, so that's how it ended up.
So you ended up fighting there no matter what, really. And then, did you give Zoe to the Holt brothers, or did you end up going with the Holts? Vince?
I ended up going to Holt's as
Vince. Me too. Yeah, me too.
Because all I need to tell, Sharon is, I'm useful because I know law and stuff like that. Yeah. So the Holts decided to take Vincent instead of Zoe.
That's exactly what happened to me, yeah.
So then, it just ends chapter 3, and that's when, after the huge thing, which is a peak of the game, Vince comes to the Holts, and apparently, I think it was only Dale that got shot and died.
Yeah,
but Tyler survived. So did Tyler survive in your playthrough?
Yeah, Tyler survived in my playthrough as well. Oh, that up to that point at least, anyway. So Jay drives the car, reverses it over the railway tracks, and then Johnny Cash starts playing, or something that sounds like Johnny Cash. You're going for a long time. God's gonna come and strike you down. It's like, oh, okay, that's cool. It's like, oh, it's still another 3 chapters. Okay, cool. But yeah, that was like the end. That was the end of season 1 or book 1. And that was the halfway point.
But didn't you say Michelle died in your playthrough?
Yeah, she did. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just Vince. So you got Vince in the car.
I got Vince. Vince survived. Zoe escaped as well, and the granddad. So yeah, Michelle died in my playthrough.
Well, let's go to 4 because this leads instantly into this scene where you just go through the forest. So you're going in the car, and the Holts are talking, and you've got Vince in the back. So, as Jay, what did you do? What did you do with Vince?
I let Vince go. I let him free.
Same.
Yeah, we're too nice. We're too nice. Criminal life's not cut out for us. I think we're too soft.
But yeah, it's just really sweet because you just you hold his pet and you just oh, just go in the woods, and it's just be let it into the wild. But yeah,
free,
Vince is still
free.
Yeah, Vince is ran out through it's like letting the hamster go. He's just phew. You just see how quickly he goes through the forest.
Yeah.
But if you didn't do that and you keep Vince in the car, apparently he gets killed in the road accident afterwards. So because both, imagine that. Because if you kept the Vince in the car when the Michelle's dead, you just end up making Zoe an orphan.
Yay!
And that leads to one of the worst endings for a game. So it's just really bad.
I don't like that ending. That's depressing. And then
she lost her mum, so yeah.
You end up being this stupid kid. I've got his name now. Joyce's son.
Yeah, that's right. Because either she goes working in journalism, or if she loses one of her parents, she ends up struggling with school and didn't go to university. It doesn't imply whether she is in university or not. But because I saved both of her parents, she ends up training to be a journalist.
Oh, in my one, she was working in the subway. And then quit because that's what they said. You give way more marinara sauce and meatballs than the other guy who works in this place. I'm like, okay, yeah. So she works in the deli, and then she lost her job in the deli, and then she goes to see her granddad and he's we think he's got dementia and all that. But that's chapter 6, so we're skipping ahead there. So yeah, so Vince runs, and he runs. And then you become the kid of Joyce, right? And then you go on you're like, screw you, ma'am. I'm going on an adventure to find a fort in the middle of the woods.
Yeah, why is it necessary to include this guy? You only see him once, so the only difference you make with this one is just you decide whether you reveal the cabin to Dante or not.
That's the only difference is that. It's the cabin.
Well, the best way you can do that when you get in the cabin, you see a bear, you almost get caught by a bear.
Yeah.
But anyway, the best way to do it is you hide underneath the bed, and when the bear goes in, you escape the cabin. Yeah. Otherwise, you just get scared shitless and the bear's coming in.
Yeah. Bear's the name of the farmer, by the way, if people who haven't really played it or not paying attention. So it's not an actual bear what are you doing in my cabin? It's the old bloke, and he's going, do you want a finger cut off or do you want your ear cut off? I was like, what are you doing? This kid's 8 years old. Stop being a dick.
It didn't happen anyway, even you made a choice. But it just reminds me, spoiler said for Heavy Rain, there's one of the challenges that the Jason's father has to go through.
Yeah.
And one of those things, he has to cut his finger off in order to reveal the letters. And it's been joked about with Charlie Brooker on some kind of Game Spike type of thing.
Yeah.
But anyway,
you can use you can use a dry chainsaw or a hacksaw or there's all these different things. Why would you use all these things? You sadistic person. You obviously want a clean, painless one. So the child escapes the cabin. Yeah. So as you said, it makes no real difference. And I also my first playthrough was I went, no, I'm not going to enter the cabin. So literally meant nothing to me this entire playthrough, that first playthrough.
You still end up falling into a pit, no matter how much you do.
Yeah, it was
The only difference is that if you fail the Q2E, you end up in the hospital.
Ah, okay.
But if you do escape the pit, you end up on the boat.
Yeah.
So that anything you do is like whether you reveal the cabin or not. But apart from
Yes.
that, it's like this side plot is like unnecessary. And
Yeah.
you'd be brought up to think about Fence, Zoe, and even like Jay, so that's it.
That's
But the biggest difference is that because none of us like said nothing about the cabin, you only have a Holtz that you just like have Jay running off because he now learns that he's a bastard of Sharon's sister.
Jay Snow, you bastard. He's a Snow.
And it's like, oh, hey, another plot twist or shock. And I'm like,
he's Jim's
what?
son. I'm just calling it now.
Well, you really wish to be so.
I hope.
But anyway,
I just want to be right. I like to guess these things correctly, like before the plot. Anyway, I might be wrong, but yeah.
But anyway, so on that outcome is that Jay ran off with Tyler, and like they went into this whole fight in the woods. Yeah. Jay climbs up with a tree like a blue jay, and then Tyler tries to get up and catches on a branch, but he's about to fall off. So what did you do with him?
I stood on his hand, let him fall.
Same. Stood on his fingers too.
And then he ends up in death row apparently after that because of that. Oops, my bad.
Well, I'm cynical anyway, so I don't really have much regret for it. But then if he didn't stump his fingers and saved it, you get Brothers in Arms achievement.
Yeah. There's an achievement for saving him, there's an achievement for standing on his feet. Then there's an achievement if you get if they find out about the cabin, if you run away or if you save. So there's literally 4 achievements for just this one scene. Or 5 achievements actually.
Yeah, because if you reveal the cabin to Dante, the cabin gets gets ambushed by cops. So you either have to go in for a standoff, you get arrested. Yeah. You decide to get out of the cabin, and you choose to either shoot the cop or you stay or get arrested. Well, you shoot the cop and you escape. Otherwise, you get arrested. Yeah. But it's not particularly a good thing because if you didn't reveal about the cabin, it just leads to a 3-bit ending because you have to kill a cop in order to run and flee.
Yeah. So I mean, do you think that affects the end of the game where you get executed? Do you think that affects it? Because Jay doesn't in my run, Jay didn't kill anybody, and then he survived the execution when I did the replay. But you said he can actually get killed during the execution. Maybe that's if you actually kill people as Jay. Maybe I'm not sure. Because at the end he goes, "You're lucky, kid. You got reprieved. You've been let go, like literally in the last second just before you're about to get killed."
Well, I think it's still the same. So if you get Jay killed, yeah, there we go. Like, you can get Jay's execution called off, but he can get executed in prison. So if it points to the same ending,
so then... maybe Jay. So I'm wondering who's the guy who killed Jim at the end. We'll probably find if it's DLC or a sequel. We'll find out. So then that leads to the scene with I've forgotten his name, Sharon, but I've forgotten his Paul. Paul.
Before we get to that, there's also a thing, the subplot where Jay just meets up with Vanessa, and apparently it's really good. Like, you get on with Vanessa, help with her homework, but her dad's such a dick.
Oh yeah, his dad's a dick.
Like, he's a control freak, but instead he's just turns into an absolute stalker in the end. And there's strictly Catholic, but it just seems as if they expect you to think as if he's an absolute enemy. Like, he's so strict, and even if you try being nice to him, he still crawls under your skin, and it's like, oh my gosh, it's just crazy. So it's just Jay and Vanessa needs to flee, but then it just leads to the part of chapter 5 where we have to get to that.
Vanessa's a great character. I really like Vanessa. I think that the Jay and Vanessa have a really good dynamic to them. I really think they were cool.
I agree.
I messed it up though. I mean, spoil. We're gonna get into that in a minute, but she like dumped Jay at the end of my first playthrough, and I had to go on my own because
We'll get to that soon.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that soon. But yeah, it's like I wanted them to stay together.
Chapter 5, we need to get on. So, Chapter 5, because I allowed Jay to be a fugitive, which is the same with you. Yeah. We get in, and there's two choices. If Jay runs away, you get to go in a pub. There's like, oh, he's under 18, and it's like, oh, I have some whiskey. It's like, do you have ID?
Oh yeah, we skipped this part. Yeah.
So it was like, nah, you're not having it. Even if I ask for water, it's like, go buy something. Oh, okay, that's rude.
Yeah, you had to play darts,
you just meet
right?
Yeah, that's right. You just went in to play darts. So it's like you had to make sure you get enough points, and you end up with a bullseye. And then it's like I just went in, and the controls are stupidly easy. Because of an enlarged cursor with the accessibility setting is easy. You just point to the reticle within time, and then you get points. That's how I got an achievement.
I didn't get the accessibility options on, so I failed this the first time. And I was like, well, surely I should be going for triple 20, not be going for bullseye, because there's more points in triple 20. But I was like, okay. And then I messed it up. And I didn't realise you get an achievement for it, so I had to redo that this morning when I was going through all the achievements. So
I got away from the cop, who she went in to like chase up on Jay. Yeah. And didn't get a trip with a trucker, though. So that's... But then if you were to get arrested at the end of Chapter 4... or doing a darts game, you get into the office of some superintendent or some sort. Yeah,
you get the FBI guy.
Yes.
So I didn't realise. So if you get arrested at the end of the last chapter, you also end up with the FBI place. Okay, because I got there by failing all the QuickTime events after playing darts. So I didn't realise there was two ways of getting there. Okay, so yeah, you have to. You have to plead there's an achievement called Plead the Fifth, where you just say nothing really, or you say, I'm not guilty, please.
Yeah, you just like keep asking for the lawyer, try not to spill any beans. I failed that the first time. Like the choices is just like really annoying. Yeah. Like I just accidentally clicked on the choice just as Where's My Lawyer popped up, and then I just failed it and somehow confessed to stuff. But when I did it the first time, you go through all the choices and then you end with, look, I've got to be honest with you. I didn't do anything. And then you just get achievement for saying I didn't do anything.
Yeah, basically. And then you escape. And then it ends up being at the same point you were before. So I hid in the back of the truck the first time I did it. The second time I did it, there was apparently a religious guy who gave you a lift because he goes, "May Jesus be with you," when you get out of the car. I'm like, okay, thanks, dude. I appreciate the lift, though.
So much Christian.
There's a lot of Christian stuff in this. Yeah, there is a lot. Well, it is America, isn't it?
It is America, of course.
They do love their Christianity, and
that just makes like Miss Marvel like a fresher breath of air because.
Oh man, I love Miss Marvel. We should do a Spoilercast on that. It's nothing to do with Xbox, but I'll do a Spoilercast on that. So then is that when we get to Paul?
Yeah. Well, there's like. I think it's the Vanessa's dad like chased up to her like after getting the hotel room. Should have been a great day, and then you have this dad who just like chased him. Even if he went through the back, he's just still on a chase for him, and then he finds out about Jay and Vanessa. It's like, oh come on, can you give Jay at least a break? He just like got out of this thing. It's not like it has to be done overnight.
Yeah. Oh.
But anyway, Paul's side plot, as you've been dying to say about.
I hid the bra. I found that straight away. Hid that, and then hid the glasses, and then hid the cigarettes, and it was pretty straightforward. Then, as soon as you hid all the stuff, you just basically Dante gets. Well, sorry.
I hid the bra. I hid the cigarette, but I did ask a question too, so I didn't get to hide the glasses. And it's like, I think it was a bit of awkward, and you just like get shoved into the corner by Dante though. But yeah, Sharon's like, but I just feel it's like it just adds more story to it when you're all interested about Jay, and then like Sharon and Paul, and then turns out they know each other. Like you get Paul who says it's a long story, and then you just have Paul and Sharon and talking about things like this. And it's like, the only thing that matters is like whether you decide to go with Sharon or go with Dante, and that's it. That's all you care about.
Yeah.
So what do you do?
So I actually turned her in I went with Dante and turned her to the police, and then she ends up being arrested, which I find hilarious because I did the alternative right afterwards, and then you see at the end they're on the beach together and having drinks and stuff. It's like,
we get
really?
to the outcomes.
Worked? Yeah,
we get to the outcomes with that at the moment because
but I'm just saying it's funny that I wasn't expecting the outcome to actually be that. I was expecting them to get caught, but no, apparently not.
Yeah.
But yeah, I went with Dante. Who'd you go with?
I went away with Sharon. Fuck Dante.
He's a dick, but he's my cousin.
But also the whole side plot is just like story on its own way. It feels like a short story where Sharon pops in, Dante goes in, and you had to deal with this. And it just feels like it's so disjointed from like the rest of the stuff. It's just like
Paul takes his cat with him.
Wait.
It's like when he goes with Sharon, he takes the cat with him. So you did do the right decision.
And so in my timeline, Paul and Sharon gets whisked away somewhere.
They're having a nice holiday on the beach somewhere. There's no cat in sight though, so I'm worried where the cat ended up. I'm sure it was fine.
Yeah. Anyway, we just end this like chapter 5 where you just like decide to take ecstasy or not. You either be an awkward guy who's in there, or you take ecstasy and you get like hallucinations.
Yeah, you're either an awkward guy or you're an awkward guy on ecstasy. It's one of the two. He's on ecstasy and he's still like, ugh.
And then you notice like there's Todd, and turns out Vanessa lied about him like being some help, and it's a friend of her brother's, and it turns out it's her lover. It's like, okay. So I just rigidly waited outside, trying not to get into the fight. Then when I went outside and Vanessa told me all about it, it's like when you talked about the fake IDs, she said that he went a bit too far. He's a bit of a dick, because otherwise he would have received his bow job instead of like the fake IDs.
Yeah.
So I originally going to say back out, but then I decided to went in and assaulted Todd with a bottle.
Nice. The first playthrough, I spoke to Todd, and he was like, "Go on your way, little man," all this stuff. She said no, and then I'm like, "Screw you, dude!" And I ended up fighting him, and then I glassed him in the bottle. So I ended up fighting him and glassing him with a bottle, and then she left me. You left me.
Same though. I think we definitely like drink ourselves there. And speaking of which, I just watched the stars last night.
Oh, that's nice. But it's like we don't like to see people getting taken advantage of. That's the thing. So like, it's like people like Todd deserve to be smacked in the face with a glass bottle. I don't care. He's an asshole.
Well,
deserved it.
All I had to do is like decided to just like leave it Vanessa instead, because it just leads to a much better outcome. Because otherwise you get a anticlimactic stuff with it. So I just claimed clean. Jay said that he's actually Jay Holt and he's on the run, and they just came with it Vanessa. But because of that beat up in the party, I was like clumsily said, let's be friends, or I don't think I received a kiss once, so it's better for them to leave. And I was like, oh gosh, I feel such a dick and being a hopeless romantic. I mean, I would have wanted them to be together, but then I kind of screwed up on that. So
yeah, I did too. Second playthrough, when I went through it again, they ended up together, so I'm happy. I'll just say that's what happened. I'll pretend it was the second playthrough.
I made the second playthrough with that in mind, and went through that too, so it's good. Anyway,
there's multiple achievements for doing it on your own or with Vanessa. So that's interesting. So then that gets us to the last part, which I'm not super fast on the last part, to be honest.
It's not
6.
so much content. It's like really quick, because you spend like over an hour in each chapter, and then chapter 6, you get except you don't get so much. So she went to college. Otherwise, if her parents are dead, she's a total dropout. Yeah. And then you just go in the J, as we discussed about this whole breaking thing. and that's it. Like, you just chase that stalker, and then you just bump into someone else, and that's it. It's just like nothing new. So what Chapter 6 is really about, it's not about with Zoe as it teased. Instead, it's about Jay coming over to the border because he's on his own. Went through, I got him to listen to the radio, and then he just met up with a forest ranger. Actually, I forgot to mention, like, Chapter 5, you met up with a traffic officer, so...
I think that's Chapter 6, I think, the traffic officer.
This one, yeah. I decided to, like, stay cool, even though he's not sure about the license. And turns out, luck. Database is down, so there's just like Jake.
So and then like you bump into you go on a bit of a hike, and then you bump into the park ranger, and I surrendered to him, and he was such a nice guy. He was just like, "Go on, just run. I'm gonna pretend I didn't see you." And it's like, "Oh, that's nice. Thanks, park ranger man."
Even though we did like toured with a glass bottle. And one of us has got, like, Michelle dead. But because none of these things are done, none of those deaths are done by Jay's hand, he was given a free pass and just go over to Canada. I bet the path is, like, really nice. You just go around and see a huge place where you play Minecraft, punching wood, and get a cabin done.
I like Jay. I feel bad for Jay. He's got, I feel like because you can turn him in as Zoe, you can get him arrested, or you can even watch him get the death sentence. And I was like, I don't like those endings. I don't like I feel like I like the idea of Jay just living in the woods and being happy with his his dog Roosevelt. I don't like the endings where you turn him into the police or he ends up getting executed. I feel like that's a bad ending for him. I feel that's like. He's just wrong place, wrong time, I feel.
So you got like Zoe, just that he's quickly forgive Jay and have a meal with him. It's called Breaking Bread.
Yeah, nice. I like that one. Breaking Bread.
Did the same thing with him, so that's what we got for like Chapter 6. However, we just like when I was like going through the achievements, I went through like different outcomes, like. You can either like turn Jay in as Zoe using a phone, or like if you get Jay arrested at some point, like doing 6, he would be sent over to execution. Like, So comes in and I have this phone call, and it's like, oh, would you like to check him out at the execution? And it's like, no, I don't want more trauma, and that's because if you refuse to do that, then you get achievement. But if it's somehow like Jay's like hasn't killed any people, he's like, oh. Well, here it goes. Any last words? Oh, phone call. And it's like, oh, it turns out like you got freed because you didn't kill any people. So, Chase is saved.
Literally the last second, because like you couldn't have done this earlier, before he got strapped in and was about to get killed. So, oh, when I push this button, you will be dead. 5, 4, 3, 2. What? Oh, you're free. Okay, great. Like, why does he have to leave it so late? Literally to the last possible.
It's just so. It just feels so artificial. Some parts of it are like down to some rotten luck or anything like that. Like Vince is like able to go through all those things with the quick time events, and he's like a really good doctor too. So it's just like, wow. It's just either someone that's like so skilled. Or like you're just so lucky, and then somehow you didn't get any of those things done. It's just ridiculous.
It's like right at the end. It's just like right at the end. You got him all strapped up, and he's about to get killed. You push the button, and then they ring they gets the call. And he's like, "Oh, it's your lucky day." He's dead. Oh. Oops. Like, oops. Push the button too early. He's dead now. Wow.
Well, that's all I call an ending, really.
I mean, is it Jay at the end who attacks Jim? But you said he might die in some version, so maybe it's not. Is it someone in the same hoodie as Jay? That's weird.
Yeah. Anyway, so
we've already discussed our conspiracy theories. So that's it. That's the plot. That is As Dusk Falls. Spoilercast.
Well, there's a different outcome that if you do decide to go with Vanessa, that like if you do decide to come with Vanessa, then you go through the mountains. I decided to jump in the river, or you get arrested. But if you do get into the river and you survived with Vanessa, and guess what? Like, you're still in the cabin on your own because you said that, oh, you spent 6 years together with Vanessa, and turns out that she's in the wild, and somehow, like, oh, so turns out it didn't work out, and she decided to move to California, so it doesn't make any difference. So this is a bit anticlimactic, really. It's just ridiculous. It's only like the execution or you chase up with Vanessa. It's just where it's really good, but it's just like it's just bad, really bad.
Well, that's also one of those things that if you go to the if you meet him in prison or you meet him in the cabin, a lot of the dialogue's exactly the same. It's slightly more muffled because it's coming through a speaker. So yeah, okay, yeah, same story.
Yeah.
I still enjoyed it though. I thought it was a good story. I don't like. I like the ending where Jay's just free and happy and with his dog and having Rabbit and all that. And he just living in the woods. That's what I want. That's how I want it to end. I don't want him being executed thing. That just seems like unnecessary and a bit harsh.
Anyway,
been through.
So let's wrap it up. Like, we got the ending outcomes and we got them all. So I got the image of the choices. So I don't know if I can give it to you for the video.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that'd be
because I got the results there, and it says that because of the choices I made, I decided to let Jay stay in Canada, which is perfectly fine, out of harm's way. That's good. Then Vince got an office job, and Michelle survived, so she's at home and she's texting back flowers. So it's like, I think it was a bit of an anniversary thing. So it's just very pleasant. But then Tyler got arrested, tried to ask for appeal, but it's been rejected. So he's stuck in a prison for like death row. But as you said, Sharon escaped the pool over to the beach, and then it just leads to the same gym ending. And I'm like, as we said, this is like trying to expect us to expect for a sequel. Now, anyway, what your outcomes are for your first playthrough?
Yeah, so I forgot to mention that. Yeah, so I have written it down. My overall outcomes for my run was Jay remained in Canada, Vince got took into an office job after the settlement, Michelle died, Tyler got arrested, and Sharon ended up in prison. That was my idea.
Yeah, that's more like it. But what happens if like Michelle dies, but Vince has got the office job? What happens to the Michelle part?
It just shows her in a it just shows her coffin basically. I think that's it. It's nothing really super major. It's nothing. Really
but then it's like, so the Dale died too. So did you have him shot doing? Sorry.
They didn't even mention Dale in the overall ending, I don't think.
It did mention his gravestones. Did it happen in your endings?
No. I don't think so. I have to have a look. I don't think so. I don't remember Dale being involved.
Did Dale survive in your playthrough?
No, he got shot. I let him go sniped, Dale.
Then he must have had his gravestone there as well. Yeah. But anyway, he's just like, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good game. So I said it was 8 out of 10. You said it was 6 out of 10. So we're saying 7 out of 10 for us. For our first Spoilercast, let us know what you think. If you think we should change anything in this format or add anything to it, remove anything to it. This is our first attempt at a Spoilercast. I thought it went pretty good. We had a good discussion and enjoyed ourselves.
I think it's just took long, but it's just because like there's so much to talk through it. But we ended up having to get through it. But I think it's fair to say, like, first episode is supposed to be an icebreaker, but it just doesn't really work well as the first episode. Like, if it's an Amazon book thing, people would just put the book down on it. Yeah. But I think, in my opinion, that episode 2 is my favourite. Episode 6 is, like, weak and not so much, but I think episode 1 is just, like, not that great. It just like shows you the concept of what the game's like. But apart from that, it's just like not so great as a story. 2 and 3
are where it peaked. It's like I feel like the whole story revolves around 2 and 3, and it's like 4, 5, and 6 are kind of the aftermath of that, and episode 1 is just getting you to that point. So I agree with that. I enjoyed it. As I said, I feel like the beginning's a bit slow, but as soon as it starts to pick up speed, it's a good ride. It's good. It's a good enjoyable show or game. I enjoyed it. So yeah, what do you guys feel about now as well?
I think it's just like if a game's like goes for the story, but I don't think the story worked. But I just really impressed with like how the game's built. It's just not well executed. But as you say, you liked it too.
Yeah, I thought it was great. I really liked it. I thought if it was, as I said, if it had the Quantum Dream label on it, I think it would have probably got more press. Or if it was if it was released on PlayStation, it would have got more press as well. I think this is it's kind of getting lost in the weeds a little bit. It's going to be a game that not many people are going to be talking about in about a year's time, which I think is a shame because it was a lot of. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun. So
I think, to be honest, that with that kind of engine, I think the same developer will make like games based on different stories or franchises. Because I can see this turning into a Telltale franchise where they explore different licenses. Because I think the way that you like do the visuals with the story tree, I think that is like utterly amazing, and I really enjoyed it.
Love that.
But I just don't really see As Dusk Falls like getting any further. Like they could do the DLC just to like wrap up the cliffhanger, but I still think the cliffhanger is still not necessary, so I don't really like it.
Yeah, I would be curious to see what happens next. Yeah, I enjoyed the show. I think it was a good game. Not game of the year, but not terrible either. I think it's definitely, if you got Game Pass, check it out. Why not? It's a couple of hours of your life. I mean, if you got this far, then you've literally spoiled the whole game for yourself. But
yeah. I think you should definitely give timestamps on like description on the comments to say which parts like discusses about chapters, so it just helps people out.
Yeah, that'd be good. Yeah, I'll try and do that. Try and keep everyone up to date with that.
Should be easy. Should be easy.
So yeah, that is our spoiler cast for. I was going to say X Marks the Box. No, it is an X Marks the Box podcast. But our spoiler cast for As Dusk Falls. What do you guys think? Did you enjoy the game? Did you hate the game? Are you indifferent? Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Is there anything else you want to say before we end the episode?
Well, at the moment, Stray is becoming the game of the year, so it already makes people forget about As Dusk Falls, but whatever.
I mean, Elden Ring, just, that's all I have to say. Thank you guys for watching. Comment, like, subscribe. Let us know what you guys think in the comments below. And until next time, too sweet. There it is, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the X Marks the Box podcast. Follow me on Twitter @PotatoChief or on YouTube @PotatoChief. Or follow us on all podcast services. Thank you for listening.